United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call.
Mayor Tappan. Vice Mayor Kojan.
Here.
Councillor Davis.
Here.
Councillor Yank.
Here.
Councillor Lee.
Here.
Councillor Augie.
Here.
Councillor Warner.
Here. First item is discussion and possible action by the City Council pertaining to the City Council's strategic priorities. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up? And discussion and possible action by the City Council's individual priorities.
Vice Mayor Kojan, Mayor Tappan, before he was called away, asked me to present his items that he would like to see continued on into the next few years. The community investment of pool, the amphitheater, trailage system, signage for Welcome to Page, the 3 entrances into town, the board barbecue, housing and education, safety, Horseshoe Bend 89 corridor, substance abuse, and speed traffic control in town.
Thank you, and thank him for that. Next item is the consent portion of the agenda. The consent agenda is a means of expediting routine matters that must be acted on by council. All items will be approved in one undebatable motion passed unanimously. Any item removed for the debate or request of any member of council, items removed will become the first items of the regular business.
Move to approve the consent portion of the agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. Next is the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is public hearings, which we have none. So we're moving on to hear from the citizens. Members of the public may address City Council on matters that are not listed on the council agenda. City Council cannot discuss or take legal action on any matters during the call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed or discussed for legal action. At the conclusion of the call, the public, individual members may respond to criticism made by those who address the council, may ask staff to review the matter, may ask that the matter be put on a future agenda. Citizens can also use information request form which are available at City Council meetings. All City Council meetings are recorded. Anybody in the audience would like to speak to council? All right, moves us to mayor's report, and that was it that he presented. So, city manager's report.
No, I think I sent everything to you guys the last week or so. So
11, boards and commissions. Discussed by City Council pertaining to reports by board liaisons.
sure. Do you want me to bring you up a little bit on substance abuse task force? We had our first formal meeting last week where everybody was actually present, so that was good. They discussed basically their priorities. They came up with 4 priorities that they want to discuss. I can't tell you. I couldn't discuss. I mean, I can't tell you off the top of the head what they were, but it was basically the same kind of stuff that we had been discussing. And then they also came up with a, what would you call it?
Well, they're working on their mission statement.
Mission statement. They came up with a
Vision
pretty
statement.
vision statement. They came up with a pretty good vision statement of what they want to do. They discussed some grants, and so I think that all the staff that was there was very happy because they all spoke. They all voiced their mind, and I'll tell you what, we have a well-rounded group up there. Everybody from an addict to a nurse to the school, they're going to be fantastic. So I think all of them are pretty passionate about the problem. We stressed to them to come up with 1 or 2 things that they really want to solve now, not to get too grandiose about solving all world problems. So it looks like their main mission is going to focus on the park and the problems in the park. So it's moving as it should.
That's good news, thank That moves us to unfinished business. First item is discussion and possible action by the City Council pertaining to the development agreement with FM Wrinkle Family LLC, resolution number 1256-20.
Vice Mayor, I'm going to recuse myself on this item.
Would you like me to introduce it?
Yes.
A resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Page, Coconino County, Arizona, authorizing and approving the development agreement and waiver with FM Winkle Family LLC.
Okay. Is that you?
Yeah. Happy to answer any questions about it, but generally what this agreement does is it's an agreement between us and the developer of the RV park, assuming that they finish up closing on that property within the next couple of months, which they're on track to do. And essentially what this agreement requires is that they complete some public infrastructure improvements, including a road and some utility infrastructure along their development. And so it sets forth the specifications for the public infrastructure, timelines, if I recall correctly, and this was, way more than they think that they need, but I think they have until April 2022 to complete all of the infrastructure. They indicated that they anticipate they'll be done well in advance of that because they want to get open, and they can't get a certificate of occupancy until all of these improvements are done. It does require them to provide us with a payment and performance bond for 100% of the costs to complete. So if they were to start the project and then not finish it, we would have recourse there to get at least the public infrastructure completed. That's kind of the gist of it. If anybody has any specific questions, I'm happy to answer them.
That was part of the turnoff, right? Turnoff into the proposed park and stuff like that?
Correct. So this road that they would be building, I guess, runs west to east from Coppermine Road, and it will be a city-owned road. It's in our right-of-way, but it does access the back portion of their development, and that's why we required them to put it in, because they need that road in order to access the back part of their development. Into the future, it would serve as a road to, any future development out into that valley out there. For now, most likely what it will serve as, you'll now have a nice road to turn off to access the amphitheater and any parking over in that area. And then also there will be access out into the desert from that road for ATVs and for WAPA to access their power lines and all that.
Move to approve resolution 1256-20.
Second.
I moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
It wasn't. I recused.
Oh, except for the refusal. Unanimously, except for that guy over there. Okay. New business, discussion of possible action by the City Council pertaining to agreement with air services with Contour Airlines.
This one's me as well. So this, as you know, the federal government, the Department of Transportation, approved our AEAS grant for continued air service, jet service, and so we, the city, we've got the grant agreement done, and now we are to kind of finalize the whole process, we need an agreement with Contour to provide those flights for us. And so that's what this agreement does. It's essentially the same as the prior agreement with them, change some dates and numbers to reflect the differing amounts on the new grant, because we're going to have fewer flight segments for the first year, beginning on October 1st, a couple of weeks ago, until September 30th of 2021. We'll have fewer flight segments, and then the second year of the grant will be the same number of flight segments that we have had for the last 4 years.
Move to approve the air service agreement with Contour Airlines and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you for keeping that jet service here. That was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work.
Next item is bid awards. Discussion for popular action by the city council pertaining to award of bid number 2020 WWTP wastewater pond number 6 and pond 7 liner replacement project for Page Utility Enterprises wastewater treatment plant. Ryan.
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. This is an ongoing project where we're remediating the wastewater treatment plant. The ponds, as you know, that's been a project that we've had on the books for 3 years. The first year we didn't get, would be 2 years ago, didn't have a qualified bidder. The one qualified bidder that we did have we weren't confident. They haven't done that kind of work before. Last year, our priorities were redirected by ADEQ, and what we did on your map there, you can see where we did ponds 1 and 5. So back to our original plan, now we're ready to do ponds 7 and 6. We went out for bid, advertised, we actually contacted others in Arizona that could do this work. We got one bid. That bid came in from Barco. Barco has a subcontractor that's going to actually do the liner work, but they are qualified and they've done work for the utility and the city in the past. So that bid came in at $375,473. We did have this in the budget for this year, the capital budget at $400,000. So staff and the board recommend to City Council at your pleasure to move forward with relining those 2 ponds.
I move
Thank you,
to
Brian.
award bid number 20-02-WWTP to Barco Limited of Washington, Utah, in the amount of $375,000 and, $375,473.
Second.
I have a real quick question for you, Brian. I noticed that one of the liners is just being covered over rather than removed. I don't know anything about these ponds, so why wouldn't, if we're going through all this work, why wouldn't we remove the liner and put in a new one? Why
It
put in an
actually,
overlay?
the existing liner is deteriorating, but it actually serves as kind of some bedding, if you will,
Oh,
for the
okay.
new liner. The newer liners, by the way, are and I'm not a polymer engineer, but it is a better polymer and hopefully will last longer.
Okay,
But that existing liner does still semi-function, just needs to be patched every year, but that would actually cradle the new liner.
okay,
So there's some advantages to doing that.
thank you.
I had the privilege of having a tour last Wednesday of the wastewater treatment plant and also the water treatment plant. So got to see some of the good and areas of concern and stuff like that. So I really appreciate Brian giving me the time to do that.
Glad you came down. Anybody's welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abby.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next item is discussion and possible action by the city council pertaining to the purchase of ballistic materials for public safety building.
Mr. Vice Mayor, because of budget restraints, we have decided to postpone that project.
Good. Sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
There's a lot of that going on lately.
All All right, that brings us to 3 final items, which are all executive sessions. Does anybody want to go into executive
to-
session?
Move to enter into executive section consecutively for items 16, 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. We're going into executive session.
Yeah, ice cubes cooling
Yeah.
in my drink.
You're silent tonight.
Yeah, well, not for long.
We'll be back.